In an earlier video we created the functions that we used for the modeling, but as I said back then already, not quite happy with the shape for the quartz porphyry especially. Just the way it's closing off here. I'd like to extend it a bit further and open it up a little bit more. So let's have a look at that. So I've got the workflow still open on the processing, and I've been using the classification. So this is a machine learning technology that we've adopted to work just like implicit modeling. So one of the things you have here as a parameter is the range setting, which is roughly similar to what you're familiar with, possibly for kriging technologies or the RBFs. But what you won't be familiar with is the these settings here on the weighting factors. Typically you'd leave them at the same value. So if you have a value here of 1,000, then also for the negative side you'd have 1,000. Only in certain cases where there's an undersampling or oversampling of certain units, you can start tweaking them a little bit. Well, what you can do is actually change them quite a bit from 1,000 to 100, and I'll demonstrate what that does. So we'll rerun this function here and just let it process for a bit. You can start to see that it's already extending out a little bit more. So the values for the weights sort of determine how tightly the function needs to fit to the data. So we can also play with extending the range a little bit and seeing maybe if that will actually work. So we'll just rerun this again with an extension. And already you start to see that it starts to open up a lot more, becomes a lot more like an open shape. But the downside, as you can see here, is that there's a boundary here at these ends of these units here. So by decreasing the weights, we actually said these are not so important anymore, and it just needs to create a general shape. So in this case we've overdone it a little bit. So let's go back and change that back to 1,000. Just scrolling up with my mouse button. Set these back to 1,000. See what it will do again. You should see that it starts to honor these ones again. Not quite as closely as they should. But maybe if we also look at better resolution a little bit, yeah, see that we need to change that a little bit. So it is a bit of a trial and error, finding the right values for the shape that you want, and in other videos we'll introduce some manual input into the modeling process. And there we go. Now we got this fitting here, but now this is not quite fitting here again. So what we could also try is actually extend the anisotropy and rerun that one. And that way you have to play a little bit with settings and see what works for the data. So I say that again. Maybe what we'll do is decrease this a little bit, all the way down to 400, and see what it does. So we're more or less happy. Yeah, this is starting to get closer to what I had in mind. Still opening up a little bit, it's extending outwards here a little bit more. For now, this is fine as it is.